Good evening, everyone, and welcome. We are going to be talking about rheumatoid arthritis and some natural support strategies that we can do. This comes from a Dr. Jocker's article on the symptoms, causes, and natural support strategies for rheumatoid arthritis. If you have any questions, please feel free to give Dr. Justine a quick text, and she'll be happy to answer all of your questions. I wanted to welcome Dr. Justine here. She's our leader here at Justine Blainey Wellness Center, and her big main objective and passion in life is to be able to provide you with the best care for both you and your family so that you can be the best version of yourself. And she believes that everyone deserves a healthcare team that focuses on prevention, optimal health, and open communication. She leads an amazing team, and help me welcome Dr. Justine.
So we're talking about rheumatoid arthritis, and rheumatoid arthritis affects so many people. Inflammatory conditions, that any type of inflammatory condition, this is the topic for you, not just rheumatoid arthritis. But rheumatoid arthritis is affecting in your body. It is autoimmune. It has like little Pac-Mans that, eat up all the cells in your body, often called invaders. And it can affect not just your joints and achy joints, but it can affect different organs like your lungs, your heart, your muscles, your ligaments. And it can affect swelling all over the body, and it can become permanent. So it is a common disease. It's most common affecting women. I have noticed that in my practice as well. And I have noticed that it gets worse with age. There is something called juvenile rheumatoid arthritis. So you do see it in young teenagers. And you do see that it's more common among Native American populations and less common among the Asians. Now, we do want to look towards a balanced immune system. So when it's balanced, we don't have some of these internal and external threats. So some of the autoimmune internal threats are things like affecting your thyroid, affecting your blood work, like rheumatoid factor, rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, inflammatory conditions, and type 1 diabetes. Now, what happens with me with a lot of the external threats is I get a lot of allergies or food sensitivities that build up over and over and over. And for me, it will, when I'm not taking care of myself well, will get eczema that will affect in my elbows, my knees, my face, my hair. And it will affect those who get chronic sinuses, chronic face pain. If it gets worse and we're really out of balance, that's what can lead to things like shingles. You see shingles come out in times of stress, herpes, any types of chronic infections, cancer. It can affect our body's ability to manage mold or bacteria, parasites. And again, for me, that has happened dealing with parasites after traveling, and also dealing with mold in my own home when we made the mistake of not replacing the shingles fast enough. And then we had mold in our roof, which was a very, very expensive mistake. And I was so affected by it, I had to move out of the house. So we do want to get a better immune system. And some of us, like myself, would be more sensitive to some of these challenges compared to, say, someone like my husband who didn't have those challenges as a child. So these stressors that we're going to talk about will help to manage and create a better balanced immune system so you can manage the stressors coming your way. So some of the symptoms at the beginning is just achiness in your joints, often the feet, the fingers, some swelling, some heat, but it can create some flare-ups. But over time, this gets way worse, and we're going to talk about that. It can create really deformity. You can see the fingers can kind of go off to the side, or the toes swing off to the side, and it can literally over 2 years really damage those joints. We'll talk about that, typically starting in the extremities and then working to the knees, hips, shoulders, and then to the spine. Other symptoms is a lot of fatigue, like really struggling through the day, low-grade fevers, heat into the joints, affecting iron, anemia, weight loss. And then it can later affect things like your heart, your brain, the protective sheath around your organs. So this is very, very serious. And so the information that we're going to go over for any inflammatory condition, not just rheumatoid arthritis, is so crucial that we can all work on it. So the pathogenesis, this is pretty deep stuff. And you can definitely go back to the article, but basically we're talking about that there are different enzymes that affect citrulline and the citrullination, and this process takes years. But there are ways that you can do blood work tests to see if you're at risk early, and then also to be monitoring it over time, because these rheumatic factors in your blood, at first you may not notice. And then as we hit, basically people really start to notice 30s and 40s and 50s, that it's really going to affect your interleukin factors. And as those interleukin factors build up, it's going to create more inflammation, more of a cytokine storm, more inflammation throughout the joints, and unfortunately also the organs. So when we look at these interleukins, that's the IL, interleukin 6, interleukin 1, TNFAs. These affect all of our fluid around the joints, the synovial fluid that types to kind of be the lubrication around your joints. You will see inflammatory markers go up, like CRP, like homocysteine, like A1C, and these can be marked in your blood work, and that can be tested with your medical doctor as well as with your naturopath. And it's going to affect, like you see those little Pac-Mans in the joints eating up all the good stuff in your joints. This picture is of your knee, and because often people will have knee pain, so that's why it's crucial to be working not only on your environment to affect the area, because you can't change your blood work, but you can change your environment, and you can change your mobility. So there's different stages of this arthritis. You'll look at the healthy joint, nice blue fluid in the joint, circulation in the joint. So even if you have a fall, you recover very quickly. Then the first stage of synovitis is itis, is inflammation. The joint becomes slightly inflamed, heat. You can work on it, and it recovers fairly quickly. And then the challenge is, as you go into the pannus stage, now you're getting excessive cartilage damage. And so it's not recovering quickly, and you need way more ongoing management. But still, if you get to this stage, you want to prevent further damage. And that can be done with your chiropractor, with your naturopath, with your physiotherapist. And it's ongoing work, because you don't want to get into ankylosis, fibrous ankylosis. That's the tissues in between becoming gummy, becoming attached. And now you have significant loss of range of motion. It's really hard to go back towards a healthy joint. And finally, bony ankylosis. Now it's fused completely. Now, that is not as common to get to that fused stage, but it is common to get to that pannus state, and really, really want to make sure and stopping that progression in all of the joints with the proper exercises, with the proper mobility movements, and your proper adjustments. And your physiotherapist, your naturopath, your chiropractor can help you with the progression of these inflammatory conditions. Now, there are 12 immune modulation options here. And so this is when you get your pen and paper, because we want to work on prevention. It's so key, proactive versus reactive, waiting until you get to those final stages of fusion. And I can tell you, I talked to a patient last night, and he has an inflammatory condition, and he's starting to fuse all over his body. Also, when we see some people with DISH, diffuse idiopathic skeletal hyperostosis, now they don't even have inflammation, but they're starting to fuse through their body, and they don't even know. So this is why we recommend test, don't guess. Get your spine, get your joints tested, get your blood work tested. Don't wait till it's too late. But here we're going over 12 things that you can do to help. We have amazing hints after that, 16 other hints. So we're going to go over 20 different things today that can truly make a difference. So number one is sugar imbalances. So looking at, first of all, testing your glucose levels. I have blood work coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm trying to make sure I am also being proactive. So poor sugar stability. Number 2 is low vitamin D levels. So I'm going to go through things that are literally on my kitchen counter, things that I have in my home, things that we sell, like your vitamin D levels, right? This is drops. And for children, we have the vitamin D3. These almost are taste too good so that you want to eat them as candy. So you have to be super careful with those. But the challenge with vitamin D, I had a patient yesterday and said, "Oh yeah, I got the vitamin D. I'm taking 1,000 a day," and I'm like, "What? Like that's way too little, especially in the winter." If you live in Canada, you're likely not getting enough sun through the winter months, and you need about an hour, 45 minutes to an hour a day in a bathing suit a day to get enough vitamin D from the sun. And that's very difficult to do in even the spring and the fall, let alone the winter. So people typically need 2 to 5,000, especially fair skinned like myself. And then for myself, spending a lot of time inside will make it very, very difficult. So test, don't guess. I need closer to 8 to 9,000 just to be in the normal levels. And the goal would be to be high normal for your vitamin D. Otherwise, you're at more risk of autoimmunity concerns, inflammatory concerns. So test, don't guess, and realize that you want to make sure you have good quality vitamin D supplements, not your junk and the ones that have lots of fillers. And if you have questions about that, certainly talk to me, talk to your naturopath, your holistic nutritionist to make sure you're getting good quality. We're going to go over more information about gut dysbiosis, getting your microbiome in good shape. So that more information is coming up with that shortly, because your gut microbiome is super important to digest the good foods you put in. But if your energy in your stomach is not good, you're not going to be able to digest even the good foods that you put in the tank. Mitochondrial dysfunction, certainly something that affects me with my allergies. That's why my naturopath put me on a microbiome, mitochondrial supplement to help. I'm not promoting this. I don't sell it in my office. It's simply on my counter because I need to make sure I'm managing my microbiome and my mitochondria as well as possible, because that helps you deal with energy, helps you deal with oxygen better, helps you deal with inflammation better. So mitochondrial dysfunction can be affected by nutrient deficiency, stress, lack of sleep, too much sugar, processed foods, toxins, parasites, funguses. Just as you're getting older, it can be affected. Inflammatory conditions. I'm not sure if it's genetics for me, but certainly I'm more predisposed compared to others. And then, of course, we got to move. We can't stay sedentary. Our body needs motion all the time. So, looking at mitochondrial dysfunction, this is again something that you would discuss with your naturopath. Number 5 is glutathione levels. And again, something that we have in our own fridge. I do not sell it, it stays in the fridge. Immune system's down or I'm feeling low energy. This is something that you can just do a squirt, it's liquid. You can do a squirt under your tongue, or you can use a nebulizer. And you can put in the nebulizer to breathe in. So when we did have COVID, or I don't know, we were told we had COVID. We did that right away. A couple times a day, we had 0 symptoms, which was amazing because we were so proactive with taking it right away. It's a major antioxidant. It's in your body naturally, and it helps your body fight free radicals and stress in the body. And if it's chronically low, it can affect autoimmune conditions and inflammation. So if you look on the slide here, not only could you take like a supplement when you're down, but better, always better, I believe in real foods before supplements. It's always best to have real foods to support your immune system. So look at this list. What can you add more of? Like in our house already, we have the avocados all the time, spinach in the fridge, green apples because they're low glycemic, garlic. parsley, tomatoes, broccoli. Now, be very, very cautious. Tomatoes we'll talk about is nightshade fruits. That's going to come up because many people could have a sensitivity to tomatoes. So you may look at some of the other areas. Pears, be very careful to try to do organic because often they're sprayed. But looking at some of these other foods or Googling glutathione, high rich detoxifying foods is going to help with any inflammatory condition, lowered immune system condition. When we go to number 6, again in our on our kitchen counter so that it's easy is omegas. So I don't know how to go right there. This is what we have in the house. This is what we have on the counters at the office. It's a high quality one because again, there's a ton of poor quality supplements out there. But when you increase your omega 3s, that's going to help because many people have too much omega 6. And omega 6 is going to increase inflammation in the body, is going to go up. So we want to help reduce that chronic inflammation by helping that 6-3 ratio by increasing your omega 3s. And that can be also done with healthy foods that we want to improve to make a big difference, like your avocados, your healthy nuts, seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, your healthy wild fish. So again, glutathione and omega 3s are big deal. We'll go over that a little bit more because also your healthy fats help your brain function better as well. Number 7, important to my heart, is upper cervical subluxation. So you're looking at the very top part of the neck here, right at the back. And if this is twisted, turned, or out of line, and there's a torque or compression, that literally increases inflammation on the entire body. This is the top of the brain stem. And just a little tilt, all right? You slept with your arm up. You slept with your hand under your head. You slept on the couch. You chronically mouse with your head tilted towards your mouse hand. You drive with your left arm up on the windowsill, your arm lower on the stick shift. All of these areas, purse on one side, or in my case, hockey bag on the same shoulder all the time, lead to imbalances in this top part of the neck. And this is where I get adjusted. A huge differences, upper cervical Nuka technique with Dr. Brett Moore. And when I get adjusted here with the Nuka technique, it helps when I have those allergy reactions. My whole left side, my face droops, and literally my eyes open. Now we do specific adjusting to this area. And if you do have rheumatoid arthritis, it's an extremely gentle technique. So this is not when you have a twist, turn, rotation, or even a cavitation, that popping sound that people think of for chiropractic. Rheumatoid arthritis adjustments in this area can be done with an instrument, a very light technique that may not have that popping sound, but this is a small bone, so you can adjust it very gently for people with rheumatoid arthritis to have a huge difference, helping that brainstem. And that upper area affects breathing rates, blood pressure rates, thyroid rates, so hormones, helps affect blood supply to the head, affects brain function. So again, this area affecting the brainstem can be adjusted very gently, as light as you would touch your eyelid, as light as you would hold a baby or hold my grandmother who's 98. So very gentle techniques can be applied to really help that upper cervical function. When we get into number 8, super important is these environmental toxins. We have a lot of talks on this because different types of heavy metals, biofunction, molds, viruses, bacteria will deplete your glutathione, that good, thing that we're talking about, and it will affect inflammation and our gut health. So checking your home for mold is super important. Doing mold yeast detoxes with your naturopath, doing heavy metal detoxes, because this stuff is found in so many things. Like if you eat, from plastics, a lot of, if you eat out, comes in plastics, or food comes in plastics, and that leaches. Of course, we don't want any of that plastic in the dishwasher because it'll leach onto your dishes. Even avoiding metals in your dishwasher would be like your pots and pans that might avoid and wash those by hand. Looking at healthy soaps, healthy shampoos, healthy detergents, healthy cleaning products, because many of these areas can affect what we breathe in, and those heavy metals toxicities, and looking at doing different types of detoxes safely with support with your naturopath or your holistic nutritionist. Personally, I know I can't do it perfect. I know that even though I have healthy cleaning products like vinegar in the home, I know that I'm breathing in, sitting in, being affected by these toxins more than others. So I try to do a detox 3 to 4 times a year. Number 9, breathing techniques are so important to reduce stress. We have many different topics on this. One of them is the 4x4. We're going to come up to the 6 breaths later, but a 4x4, let's do it together. We're going to breathe in for 4, breathe out for 4. Breathe in for 4, hold for 4, breathe out for 4, hold for 4. All right. So if we look at it, we're going to go breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. Breathe in, hold, breathe out, hold. So a 4x4 breath can be super important to reduce stress, and you can just do it for even half a minute to get some more control over our stress and getting more oxygen in the tank. For vagal tone breathing, a 4-7-8. So breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. Slowing down the breath. Again, 4-7-8. Breathe in for 4, hold for 7, breathe out for 8. Can make a massive difference on our overall stress in the body. Many different holding your nose or nostril breathing techniques that exist, again, to help with reducing overall stress on the body. Sleep, number 10, super important, getting optimal health, optimal melatonin. When I did my Dutch test, that's a very high level hormone testing. It can be done with your naturopath or your medical doctor. It is expensive. It is closer to $500 and not covered by OHIP, but way better testing than what's covered by OHIP. And I was able to test my melatonin, serotonin levels in detail, and realize that even though I thought I was sleeping great and didn't need more sleep, I tend to function fairly well on 6 to 7 hours sleep. My melatonin levels were not good, even though I thought I was doing well. So very important, again, to get that higher level testing. Your medical doctor typically doesn't know about the Dutch test, so you will have to bring them the information, but they are still able to order it for you and get the results and review the results with you. I did it with my naturopath. But getting healthy sleep habits will help us reduce inflammation and help tissue healing. So we need good quality sleep. And there's lots of different supplements that you can talk with your naturopath, breathing exercises. And we do have talks on this that are over an hour long, just focused on sleep. Number 11 is methylation process, because that helps protect your DNA, helps you get more methylation, so helps your immune system. So again, this is something that you want to talk with your naturopath to make sure, are you methylating well? And then do you need support with it? EMF exposure, that's your cell phone, that's the Wi-Fi, it's everywhere. So none of us are getting away from it. So we need to manage it better. So I have different EMF protection, especially by my tower, by my computer. This is an example of one that I have right by my computer right now, that you can help reduce your EMF exposure. I have little ones on my phone. And goal is to keep my phone away from my head as much as possible, off my body, in my purse, or beside me, rather than on my body. So as much as possible, I know that some people carry their phone around with them in their home. Get it off your body as much as possible throughout the day. If you're at work, off your body. Put it on a desk beside you, not right beside you, to make sure you're reducing EMF exposure. This is not something where you feel it right away, but you just feel tired, right? Or you might feel inflamed and you don't even realize that you're being affected by this EMF exposure. You can have your house tested also for different types of exposure and how you can reduce it to make it better for you. How I notice, if I put my phone near my ear, I feel like tingling in the side of my head. I can literally feel tingling in the side of my face. So I know that I'm a sensitive, and some people are more sensitive to EMF exposure than others. The challenge is that many times you just feel nothing, or you don't even realize that the symptoms are related to it because it's sort of full body, like an achiness in all of your joints or a fatigue level, and you don't even know what's happening. Number 13, is just realizing these are the 12 areas. We're going to go through some more solutions coming up soon, but 12 areas to affect autoimmune diseases according to Dr. Jockers, looking at your sugar stability, your vitamin D, your mitochondrial function, your gut health, glutathione levels, your omega-3s, making sure you get your neck and upper cervical spine checked for any areas of subluxations, those misalignments that crush and put pressure and irritation of your nerves, looking at your toxins, methylation, sleep, EMF exposure, and looking at how to manage your stress better. That can be helped with naturopathy and chiropractic care to reduce your stress, and of course our breathing habits. Look, breathing exercises just take a minute or two a day. There's some other areas that can truly affect autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid arthritis, and one of them is food sensitivities. And this is certainly close to my heart because I function better when I'm gluten free. I can eat a little bit of gluten, so I'm not like celiac or Crohn's, but when I do, I get rashes on my stomach that literally go from the chest all the way down to my hips, and the joints are more achy. So I'm just showing you that this can be done gluten-free. Even there's so much out there now, and this is not the healthiest, but when you're going to want to treat, say, with some cheese, there are options from Costco. If you are a cereal eater, for example, I'm not, but maybe once every 2 weeks, I want to be able to have a grain-free type of cereal. This is at Costco. Very low sugar, right? 2 grams of sugar, so very low carbs, healthy fats, and just, easy, right? If you're really rushing out the door, because you don't want to be going to McDonald's or thinking about a donut. This is also if you want to make your own yogurt parfait. Typically for us, we would do plain yogurt with high protein, organic, and then add berries to get some sweetness, and then the grain-free granola, because the coconut makes it taste sweet. So now you have high protein, healthy fat with low glycemic fruits like berries, and it's an amazing either dessert or breakfast. Also for gluten-free, if some people say, well, like the bread tastes like crap, if you buy gluten-free. And I agree, many times it does. So you want to be very careful. This is an example that you can get from Healthy Market. You can purchase it online. You will see this. They have this company that's grain-free, gluten-free, GMO-free. This is hamburger buns, but you can make it into a bread as well, and it tastes good. The disadvantage of that is you have to eat it within a couple of days because it goes moldy really quick. Now, when your bread does not go moldy, you have to ask why not, right? Because if the mold doesn't want it, it likely has chemicals within it that are not healthy for you. So when we have gluten or wheat sensitivities, it affects that gut microbiome. It affects your brain functioning, it affects autoimmune diseases, and it even affects moods and depression. Um, so it's really, really important to look for starting with an elimination diet. Um, that's at the very bottom. You may not even realize that you have a gluten sensitivity, that you would be better to avoid some of those foods with gluten because you just think, I'm tired. I didn't get enough sleep or I didn't get good enough quality sleep. But gluten sensitivities affects all sorts of inflammatory diseases. And one of the ways to check is to take 2 weeks to 3 weeks off gluten. Doesn't mean you can't eat other things. You're just off gluten, or you can do it with dairy as well, and then add as much as you can in for a day and see how your body reacts. You can make your own gluten-free, healthy foods. That would be ideal. Like there's so much online now, especially because the keto diets become so popular, and that's usually gluten free. So there, but it doesn't mean you want to add a lot of chemicals. The goal is if you make it on your own, you'll be able to make healthier options. Or now there's just so much also that you can purchase that's pre-made. Just careful because often they're still processed, so you still want to limit the amounts of that. You want to focus on high quality foods that don't have a can, a bag, or a box. Things like your fruits and vegetables that would be, or your wild fish or free range proteins that would be that much better. Looking at vitamin D, like I said, vitamin D is crucial in order to make sure that you're functioning at your best. It can affect pain sensitivities. It can affect your moods, depression. It can affect your sleep. It can affect your workouts and your muscle tension. Vitamin D affects blood pressure, your endurance for your sports. It can even affect your joints for stress fractures. Help affect your immune system so you can get sick often if you have low vitamin D. And for children, it can even affect learning, focus, memory. So then again, for children, the healthier vitamin D gummies from a good quality company, not Sesame Street or Flintstones, is super important. They can even, children can do things like healthy vitamin D drops. They have zero taste. And if you need to, you can put it in an ounce of juice and make it easier for them. As we get into autoimmune diseases, definitely have to look at your gut flora, because if you can't digest the foods properly or your vitamins or supplements properly, it can lead to things affecting your metabolism, affecting weight gain, inflammation throughout the entire body, even affecting things like affecting autism. A lot of times, children on the spectrum do really, really well if we help work with a naturopath for their gut health and looking at their overall diet. We know if you have poor gut health, that's going to increase inflammation, affect your quality of life overall, and certainly affect your microbiome and rheumatoid arthritis. Very important. I went through food poisoning this year. Not fun. So when you've gone through food poisoning, for example, you still need to introduce some of the healthy gut flora and work on your gut flora afterwards. So this is important for those with inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid arthritis, but anybody with inflammation, anybody who's done with a severe stress in the home, like a loss in the home, like a death in the family, a change of jobs or loss of jobs, stress just with your children, stress with just managing your overall life and all your responsibilities. It's important to look at your gut flora. Leaky gut is very, very important. You can look at like the between the gut cells, all the food sensitivities and the bone that you're not able to absorb your foods well. It's definitely affected by sweeteners. When people do, the yellow blue packets, they think they're doing well because they're not having real sugar, but they're damaging their gut flora. It's affected by gluten, food sensitivities like dairy often. It's often affected by soy, nuts, pasteurized dairy, corn, and eggs for some. Um, and like I said before, when I was talking about the tomatoes, it's affected by nightshade plants for many people. Potatoes, eggplant, and tomatoes can affect your gut health. So sometimes you need to do that elimination diet for protecting your gut health. My son dealt with food poisoning, and same with me this year. So we also have healthy probiotics in the home. You may want to make sure you get the supplement that will work for you. This should be kept in the fridge, otherwise, and in a container that keeps it dark in order to be able to help your gut health and your leaky gut as well as possible. SIBO is overgrowth of the bacteria in your gut health, and that can be helped with your naturopath with healthy foods like kimchi, kefir, sauerkraut, and different supplements. And we'll go through some of those coming up shortly. Getting that mitochondria function. We talked about that, and that after having this severe allergies, an allergy reaction, that's when I started taking this from my naturopath. But because when the mitochondria is not functioning well, it will affect rheumatoid arthritis. Mitochondria are affected by your diet, stress, infections, different toxins, sleep, and even as you get older. And it will affect things like headaches, migraines, your heart, fatigue levels, fibromyalgia, autism, Alzheimer's, brain function, metabolic syndromes. So this is super important to be looking at how are your mitochondria functioning and do you need some support for it. When we look at anti-inflammatory diet, this is what we need for autoimmune diseases, those who are dealing with increased stress, and certainly for rheumatoid arthritis. So if you look on the pro-inflammatory sides, foods that you need to avoid are processed foods, the McDonald's, the Burger King, the fried, whatever it is, the breads, the dairies, the salad dressings, things that have lots of chemicals, corn, high fructose corn syrup, have sunflower oil, safflower oil, soybean oil, and look towards grass-fed, free-range proteins. Lemon and limes in your water is an easy one to add. Avocado oil for salads, or organic olive oils. Adding green tea. My husband and I have been making cinnamon, green tea, and ginger each morning to help each morning start your day. And it's fairly easy. Once you get it all organized, you can make that in about 5 minutes. Healthy vegetables, of course, healthy fats with your wild fish, aiming for Pacific, not Atlantic. Bone broth you can make at home is a lot, or you can purchase it. Coconut water, coconut oil. Looking at fermented vegetables, so garlic, onions, parsley. So many pro-inflammatory foods are easier. So great anti-inflammatory foods will include your healthy fats like coconut products, avocados, olive oil, berries, phytonutrient vegetables, grass-fed beef, wild game. So my husband's family, they do the hunting out in Saskatchewan. So wild meats would be very healthy. Organic poultry, eggs are very, very good. You can add organic vegetable juices, fermented foods, herbal teas, homemade sauerkraut, apple cider vinegar, coconut water, kefir, kimchi are really, really good. Something that I'm not great at, but is good for you, is the organ meats like grass-fed liver, heart, which are rich in mitochondria supplements. And some of the herbs that might be easier for you to add: turmeric, ginger, garlic, onions, rosemary, thyme, cinnamon, and oregano. So that's a big list. So let me say it again: turmeric. Some of my patients will do turmeric or cumin in a little bit, an ounce of milk right before bed to reduce inflammation. My husband and I are doing the ginger cinnamon tea, garlic and onions, rosemary, thyme, and oregano. Some of the things that can help also, sulfur-based onions, garlic, cruciferous vegetables on a daily basis, seaweed, kelp can also be helpful. So lots of pro-inflammatory foods, anti-inflammatory foods can make that big difference. The 5 R's in reducing gut inflammation. First, remove the problem, right? Like remove the stressors, help your body deal with stressors with massage therapy, with Reiki, with prayer, with meditation. Reduce the stressors. Our massage therapist, Edwin, does emotional release therapy, does cranial sacral therapy. Remove the stresses with chiropractic, naturopath. Replace the bad foods with healthy gut foods, healthy digestive enzymes, and work with a specific plan with your naturopath. Reinoculate, add those, like I was saying, those healthy probiotics, prebiotics, and then looking towards helping to repair your healthy gut and get that balance that you need with the anti-inflammatory diet. So these are the 5 R's. It takes some work, right? If you're going through this, take some work. So little changes at a time, because if you try it all at once, that's when we fall off the wagon. So that's when you get your naturopath, your coach on your team. Create a plan and then follow the plan, and expect that this takes time. This is not something you do in a week to reduce inflammation for autoimmune diseases, because this is something you're working at for a lifetime. So you want it as a lifestyle, not as a diet. Okay, when we talked about those subluxations at the top part of your neck, but also through the spine, you'll see a normal disc. That's the blue area. That's the shock absorber in the body. You want that shock absorber to be able to absorb all the stresses of walking, moving, sitting, and it rehydrates with fluid. It is mostly water. So you want to be able to drink enough water. And the only way that the disc gets fed is called inhibition, is with movement. So that's why your wobble cushion, your mobility exercises are so crucial to rehydrate your disc. If you get degenerative disc, herniated disc, slip disc, fissured disc, tear in the disc can become more like a raisin. It gets squashed. It can't absorb the pressure, or it could leak out and put pressure on the nerves. This is exactly what chiropractic helps with, acupuncture helps with, to give you the right exercises. Very important. The things to avoid, namely sitting or flexion forward, exercises, flexion with rotation, like bending forward with your trunk and twisting, are areas that damage the spine and the discs. So anybody with rheumatoid arthritis, chronic immune system concerns should see a chiropractor, do a consultation, get x-rays, determine, are you at risk of disc damage, joint damage, and then what are the right ways to help it. So when we look at that upper cervical, you can see the picture of the atlas, first joint, the atlas axis area. If there's a tilt, a twist, that can put extreme compression on that top part of the brainstem, lead to imbalance. And there are very specialized, gentle techniques for rheumatoid arthritis or autoimmune diseases. This is not your big twist or crack, not what you see on TikTok, not what you see on Facebook that's to sell advertising. We have in autoimmune conditions, it's very specific, gentle adjustments that can be managed by children, managed by seniors, and help, because the ligaments can be less stable there. So you want to make sure you're going to a chiropractor who knows how to analyze x-rays and be very specific for that technique. And even with things like massage, you have to be much more careful of that upper cervical area to check if you have any subluxations that would be affecting your overall energy and input from your brain down to the rest of your body, from the rest of your body back up to your brain. So we're going to go through 15 different strategies, natural strategies to help with inflammation, which will help with autoimmune diseases and help with rheumatoid arthritis. So the ketogenic diet is one of the areas to help your body use ketones instead of glucose. And I do recommend, along with Jockers, to cycle in and cycle out of this. But the main goal is to reduce your sugars and help your body use healthy ketones for energy using the right fruits. So that's more low glycemic berries and green apples, herbs, spices, healthy fats like your avocados, nuts, seeds, chia seeds, hemp seeds, grass-fed, free-range proteins, and wild-caught fish will help your arthritis. Many of the sensitivities, food sensitivities like myself can be affected, like gluten, corn, dairy, will be affecting this, and grain, seeds, nuts, those nightshade vegetables like the tomatoes, potatoes, peppers, and eggplants. So this is when it can be important to do that elimination diet, at least 2 weeks, even up to 28 days, to see if you have those sensitivities. You see that in the gray on the bottom side. This can be tested with the SKIO technique, biofeedback technique. You can be tested to see if you have these sensitivities. That's a test that can be done even with infants or children. There's nothing that goes into you with that type of testing. And if you need a referral, just contact us. We have two biofeedback practitioners that we refer to in the Ontario area. If you have food sensitivities, for me, it'll lead to rashes, increased eczema, energy, stiffness in the joints. But it can affect bloating. It can affect IBS, like irritable bowel, fatigue levels. It can affect headaches, weight gain. And this is different compared to an extreme food allergy that might start younger with things like peanuts, tree nuts, eggs, milk, and different types of fish. So certainly make sure to realize a lot of people, the food allergies are obvious because you have a very quick, fast reaction, but the food sensitivities are not so obvious. They can be slow and they can build up. And so you can be unaware of those. So that's why you want to be get tested. Fasting is super important. And whether you start with just, sleeping is part of that fast, but then just adding an extra hour and then eventually, eating an hour delay from when you wake up, then maybe eating 2 hours. It's not having breakfast. It's just breaking your fast a little later in the day. And then of course, trying to eat but maybe an hour before you go to bed, then maybe 2 hours before you go to bed, then 3 hours go to bed. So this intermittent fasting is going to help with getting rid of bad cells like autophagy, reducing inflammation, helping your gut health, and helping your body regenerate. I don't recommend going to a warrior fast right away. It's overkill. It might be very difficult, which will increase your cortisol, increase your stress response. So you want to start slow. And if this is new to you, make sure you're talking to your naturopath, your chiropractor, your holistic nutritionist. Have a support team so you're not increasing your stress. You're doing more good than bad. Number 4, looking at ways to reduce stress. And that's definitely what chiropractic does. It's definitely the breathing exercises. But here are some other hints that you can do at home. Also, your naturopath works on mindfulness. So being more aware of the good, because a lot of times we just focus on the bad. And that really affects our stress response, which affects overall inflammation and rheumatoid arthritis. So the big one is turning off the negative news, really limiting that time to a specific time and definitely not before bed so it doesn't affect your sleep. So that means reducing your social media. So yeah, I do go on TikTok. I'm not going to say I'm perfect. I never look at TikTok or never look at Facebook, but I'm looking for the happy kitten videos or the happy puppy videos or the workout videos, exercise videos. I'm looking for positive things and pushing away, the ones that could bring me down and negative news. Avoiding certain people. Now that's tough, whether they're in your work environment or your home environment, your family or certain friends, but really limiting that time. And maybe you are at a party, but you just walk away, and make sure you're with the people that you know that build you up. Those loving, uplifting people. Looking at relaxation techniques, meditation activities, yoga, Pilates, areas to get you moving, getting out in nature if you think about the 75 hard, that's working out inside and getting a workout outside. Looking at what you're reading, truly reading something positive. Right now, I'm reading a book about climbing Mount Everest and the lessons from climbing Mount Everest. Taking time to hum, to sing, to whistle, to dance in the kitchen. One of my patients, 80 years old, teaching dancing lessons. Like, that's amazing. We want to be as healthy as possible. Working on gratitude times. I have my positive affirmations in my bathroom. I'm ready to give, I'm ready to love, I'm ready to serve, right? My mission statement in the bathroom, so that when I brush my teeth, that's what I look at twice a day. Focusing on that self love, that I am loved, I am appreciated, I am enough, is so important. And then just smiling in the mirror, looking at yourself and smiling, even when you don't feel like it. If you smile, you feel better. Look at yourself and smile. These are simple stress reduction techniques, and we have many videos on stress reduction. And of course, your chiropractor, naturopath can help you with this. And at our office, again, Edwin does emotional release therapy and craniosacral therapy, and that can help also. Number 5, I know this is great information, but focusing on your sleep. And one of them is the temperature of the room, the light in your room, the beds, the pillows, your circadian rhythm. So making sure you go to bed at the same time and get up in the morning. When the clocks change, that does make a difference, even more car accidents. So prepare ahead, especially if you're going to travel. Number 6, let's look at the key players in cellular stress. So again, this is something you'll discuss with your naturopath, how to get rid of those dead cells, how to purge the dead cells and create healthy cells, how to look at stem cell patches, stem cell regeneration, and help get more of the good cells and rid of the bad cells. Number 7 is looking to add vitamin B and magnesium. So both of these we have at the office. I have the vitamin, this is the B12. I also have the B supplements in our household, B15. I don't eat beef and meat. So if you are vegetarian, you do need to look at how you're going to add your B vitamins and your magnesium. You can look at that with your, Swiss chard, spinach, and foods are the best. Avocados, Himalayan pink salts, nuts. Looking at sprouting, which you can do very cheaply in your own home. Sea vegetables. So there are ways to add magnesium. Now, if you're using a supplement, be very, very cautious, because there's all different types of magnesium, and you want to make sure you have the right amount and the right kind that you're going to be able to absorb, and that will help with inflammation. Magnesium will also help with smooth muscle, so it'll help with going to the bathroom, it'll help with muscle cramps and muscle fatigue. Number 8 is those breathing exercises. And then we talked about the 4x4, the 4-7-8, the nostril breathing. But looking towards this one is 6 breaths in a minute. So that's 10 seconds approximately in and 10 seconds out. So you're slowing that breath, because many people are breathing very fast. 12 seconds, 18 seconds. They're breathing only from the scalenes in the top part of the neck. So that in for 10 seconds and then out for 10 seconds. This one can be done in the car, especially if you're in traffic, right? Lowering that stress response. So in for 10 seconds and out for 10 seconds, aiming for that 6th breath to help stimulate your body and create more healing. Number 9, antioxidant-rich foods. To these carminatives are areas that can be very, very supportive for your mitochondria, help your overall body deal with inflammation. So these are easy ones. Herbal teas. Careful you get good quality teas. Bone broth, essential oils, fresh herbs. Um, Make your own green juice or wheat grass juice, fermented vegetables. So chewing on fennel. So these are options. Again, you can talk to your naturopath, but these types of herbs are things that you can do very inexpensively to reduce inflammation. Grounding, and this is free, especially as we come into the good weather. Walking barefoot outside affects sleep, mood, stress, jet lag, immune system, inflammation. So free and easy when it's warm to walk on the grass, walk in the sand barefoot. Number 11, remember we talked about those essential oils, increasing that omega-3 so that all your different foods, because this is going to affect all your organs, all your joints. Just think of it as the oil loop, the lubrication for your joints that's going to help your overall metabolic systems. Number 12, we've talked about increasing, improving your mitochondria. One of the other things that can affect with mitochondria along with omegas is your alpha lipoic acid. Make sure you have a good quality and know how much. Your NAC, N-acetylcysteine. Looking at resveratrol, that's one of the areas when my mother had cancer. We looked at that to help your B vitamins and your CoQ10. We have this in our home. Looking at ways to help with quercetin, ways to reduce inflammation. And this is a big list. So you don't want to have everything. This is why you want to get support and then monitor, is it working with your blood work with your naturopath? Number 13, again, go back to those vitamin D levels. I told you, you have to test, don't guess. All right. So looking at whether, I have it right here. This is super easy, super inexpensive, the drops, but your vitamin D levels are crucial for inflammation. Number 14, those probiotics. Again, health food stores should be in the fridge. Will help overall metabolic function and help with rheumatoid arthritis. Now, number 15, this can be difficult, reducing toxic exposure, because the toxins affect your liver, your major detoxification system. So organic when possible. I know it's expensive, so especially those things that don't have a big peel, and especially your proteins, grass-fed, free range, and wild for your proteins. And then slowly over time, looking at personal hygiene products like makeups, and creams and anything that you put on your body. Using glass and stainless steel, wood, bamboo instead of plastics. Getting time outside, looking at your water and your air filtration system. And then one of the things that's super easy is adding lime or lemon to your water. Looking at those toxic exposures, again, looking at your flavoring your water with lime or lemon or stevia, not, pop, not Gatorade. So looking at changing the products like your healthy salts and trying to drink water as much as possible. So first thing in the morning and then trying to sip 4 to 6 ounces throughout the day. On a regular basis, even every 20 to 30 minutes. So that's why I have 2 water bottles on my kitchen counter, so it's easy to grab. A water bottle in all 3 rooms at the office, a water bottle with me in the car. So make it easy, and then reducing caffeine and reducing alcohol, because that will help dehydrate you. And number 16, being aware of these detoxification systems. Get the help you need, because this is difficult. When you're toxic, that's going to lead to all those symptoms you see at the bottom. Irritable bowel, skin and rashes, eczema, joint pain, autoimmune diseases like rheumatoid, lupus, Sjögren's, cardiovascular, affecting your heart, your bowels, obesity, overweight, hormone imbalance. This is scary stuff, folks. So making sure we get the help so that our body, we're avoiding the toxins in and finding ways to get the toxins out. All right. I know this was a ton of information. I knew it was going to be a lot. So this is one to save and probably re-watch, take notes, because all of these areas affect inflammatory disease. And get a healthcare team member to help you because it is overwhelming. Have a naturopath on your team. I just saw my naturopath, Dr. Udani, and I'm getting my blood work soon to, I did all the things she told me to do after getting my blood work, and then I'm rechecking, did it work or do I need to make another change? So super important to monitor our results and have a coach along the way. As a chiropractor, we work with the nervous system, that upper cervical area, because the nerves affect, look at all those organs. The nerves go to every single organ in your body, every physical tissue, cell, ligament, muscle. The nerves got to send messages there. And then from those organs, tissues, and cell, the messages back to your brain. So the chiropractor works on removing the interference, removing the pressure off the nerves, removing those areas of subluxation. And the thing is, you may not feel it. You can have these damaged areas to the spine and nervous system and not feel it. Only 10% of your nervous system is pain. So we recommend everybody get a spinal checkup, do the thermal scans, do the full spinal checkup. And make sure, especially if you have rheumatoid arthritis, inflammatory autoimmune conditions, that are trying to provide you a ton of information on a regular basis. Connect with us. Please do a review because that helps others, and share these with others who may have rheumatoid arthritis. Maybe one or two things like adding thyme, parsley, rosemary on a regular basis to diet would be the thing that will help them. So we try to provide lots of free information for you because we care. So stay tuned and look forward to being with you soon.